for our team because I thought we executed in all three phases really well. I'll start on special teams. They have arguably the best kickoff returner in America, and we didn't want to let that guy beat us. And so we went to a pop-over mentality, and we sacrificed some field position in the game by doing so. And in turn, it swung the field position in a manner that our offense got stuck with quite a bit of long fields throughout the game. And it put our defense in a situation where they were getting stuck with some shorter fields, but we just didn't want to give up 7 points on a kickoff return to a guy that's done it 3 times in the last 2 weeks. And what came out of that was I thought we played really good first down and second down defense, which allowed us to play amazing third down defense. And it's unfortunate we gave up the one long run there. I believe it was in the second quarter. I have to check exactly when that occurred. I guess first quarter, late first quarter. But outside of that, our defense was phenomenal. We got the third down. I think they only converted 1 third down all night. And so our defense got to a point to where we covered well. We pressured enough, especially late in the game. And then for us offensively, the third down conversions were awesome. I think we were about 50% in the first half, and then finished up right around 50% there for the ball game. And we had good balance, which is what always we want to have. I thought Bishop had another excellent night running the football. We kind of know what he is, and we know what the types of runs he's going to have. 36 carries, I think he had tonight for over 160 yards. The playmakers in offense made their plays in Austin and Kaysen. The role players made their plays when they had their chances, whether it was Kendall Taylor, what Evan Hudson brings, what John Amosa brings, what DeAndre Campbell brings, what Cody Bruns brings, Jadon Mickens brings. So that's kind of our mix, and that's our balance. I thought this was by far and away Keith's best game of the year. I've kind of felt that coming over the last couple weeks, and I thought our offensive line did an admirable job against a very good defensive front. So all in all, it's a great win against a good opponent. We're happy to be bowl eligible, but there's plenty of work still left to be done for this football team, and we realize that, we understand that, and we'll get back to work here and try to go get another one at Colorado.
What was it about Keith that made you think that a night like this was coming?
Well, I just saw some things the last couple weeks. He had been playing a little bit better the last 2 weeks against Oregon State and Cal. But more so than that, if you noticed him on the sidelines when we were on defense the last couple weeks, he was very involved, very engaged in the game. He was right there with the defense, wanting the defense to play well. He was much more engaging than he had ever been all season. I felt like earlier in the season, the weight of the world was on his shoulders. He was sitting on the bench. He was trying to decipher through things and understand what was going on. He was much more of the leader, the Keith that we grew to know and love a year ago. That guy was starting to come back. And yeah, he missed some throws here and there, maybe some reads here and there and all that. And he had a couple turnovers, but just the energy that he brings. He's got an infectious energy about him that the team really responds to, and that was starting to come. And then tonight, that didn't change. I mean, he was just playing that way. I thought he trusted his ability to either make throws, 1, 2, his legs to run the football on third down and convert some critical third downs for us. The 1 touchdown, and then obviously some critical third down conversions on the 18-play drive. And I'm happy for him. It's been a grind for that kid this season. Nobody works harder. Nobody prepares more. There's not a better competitor in that locker room. Some of those guys might argue with me, but he's an awesome kid. He deserved to have a game like this to get going. And I equate it some to, when you look at a batter, a Major League Baseball hitter, and he's in a slump, and then he's finally trying to, now he's, not only he's been in a slump, but now he's starting to strike the ball well, and he's hitting the ball well, but he's lining out to the third baseman, the shortstop, the left fielder. He almost can't buy a break. That's how Keith has been here for a couple weeks. Couldn't buy a break, Hits Jadon doesn't make the play. He just misses a throw here, a tip ball there in the red zone last week. And sometimes you need a bloop single to kind of get you off the snide and get you going. And I thought he played a really good game tonight. Managed the game very well. Nice job of audibling when we needed to get some audibles done. Worked the clock well. The third down conversions, like I said, the red zone execution. So really happy with the way he played.
Can you talk about Keith running? Obviously, he ran more tonight, scrambling and making those plays. What has allowed him to do that tonight that maybe he didn't feel comfortable? Was it comfortability or not being able to? Or
Well, I don't know. I think sometimes it's just being decisive in your decision making, and when there's clarity and you trust what you see and you go. He obviously made a couple plays when he scrambled, throwing the ball too tonight, which were big plays for us. I mean, the play to Austin is a tremendous play by both those two guys. I mean, Keith, I don't know how you throw the ball. He almost threw it back in play to him, and Austin jumping up making that catch. So all of that's his game, And I've said this all along. I never wanted to take his stinger because we admire him so much for the plays he's making. There's such a fine line in there. When to make those plays, when to throw the ball away. He probably threw 3 or 4 balls away tonight too when he got out of the pocket. So he just made really good decisions when he was out of the pocket to throw it away, to run it, then to throw it to try to get a completion, and it worked out for him.
Can you talk about using Austin on the defensive line and how that came about?
Just trying to generate a pass rush. And Austin's he's got fantastic tools to rush the passer. We felt like there were some things that could help us with our speed group going in there and moving Hudson inside, Shirley on the outside, Austin on the outside. And we're at a point in the season right now where it's all hands on deck, and whatever we can do to put our best personnel on the field to be successful. And I don't know exactly how effective he was at that, and I don't know exactly how many plays he played. He probably played 8 to 10 plays roughly defensively tonight. But I think he'll get better at it, and it could prove to be advantageous for us to continue to do it. We'll see as we move forward.
Steve, how about the first drive for Utah in the second half? How big was that for you guys in terms of just setting the tone of the second half?
Well, when a team decides to go for it kind of in their own end, it's one thing you want to make the stop, like we were able to do on the 4th down play. And then it's another to capitalize on it, and to take advantage of it. And we were able to do that as well. And I thought our defense played really well. It's unfortunate we gave up a couple big runs that the numbers bear out. Sometimes don't look as great in the running game. But all in all, we played well against the run. 55 yards passing, to be that sticky in the back end with the stuff we were doing to generate some pressure on the quarterback. So, but that was big, to get a stop and then to get a score, I think was big for us. And then to answer their score later in the ball game there, when they kind of scored to generate some momentum, then we were able to go down and get another one to kind of separate ourselves again.
You talked about the change in Keith's sideline demeanor. Is that something that you take effort to coach out of him, or do you let that emerge from within him on his own?
Well, I think you talk to it, and we've been talking to him about that for quite some time, and that's easier said than done. It's easy to talk about that stuff on a Sunday and a Monday, and then Saturday it rolls around and you get sacked and you get hit in the back, and it's 2nd and 1 and you're trying to take a shot and you get sacked before you're able to set up. And but for him to be able to come to the sidelines and remain the positive Keith that we're so accustomed to be around and pop right back up and be right there with his teammates, I thought was really cool for him. And it's been a process for him. And, I had to remind myself here at some point of all of the stuff that has changed around him. And, what reminded me of that is Senio Clemente was here last week. And I thought, okay, there's his left tackle from a year ago. His starting tailback from a year ago is in the NFL. His 2 other wide receivers are playing in the NFL from a year ago. He had 4 other offensive linemen get hurt. He had 2 other running backs that were supposed to be the starters get hurt. He had the other starting receiver who was supposed to be with him get hurt. And he got in the huddle, and there was a lot of new faces for that guy. And I just think he got a little too serious for him and shouldered too much for him. And it's cool to see a guy believe in himself and work his way through it and fight through it and play good football. And I think he's going to play great the rest of the way. You know, he's gotten himself back. The guys around him are playing better. We're playing better up front. We understand who we are as an offense and what the style of play is going to be for us, and I think he understands that, and we're playing pretty good.
Steve, what is the 1,000-yard mark for Sankey? For this team, for all you've gone through on the offensive line, tailbacks, to get a guy to that number?
It's pretty cool. I'm hoping he's got more than that in his tank. You know, we'll see. You know, if you would have told me in July when I was on vacation that, hey, the end of the year, Bishop Sankey's going to rush for well over 1,000 yards, I'd have thought, oh, how's that going to happen? You know, and now that we're here and I watch the kid play, he's a stud. You know, he's a stud. He runs hard. I think that the natural notion is if you just saw Bishop walking down the street, you wouldn't think he's an inside runner, a guy that runs between the tackles. You'd think it was more of the shotgun, zone read, get the ball on the perimeter type stuff, but he's an excellent in-between the tackle runner, and it shows. That's where he makes his plays.
What happened with Timu on the play? And then just talking about his game, you know, the interception prior to that, and then coming back from it.
He got a stinger. You know, that happens, I guess, in football. You know, he kind of got landed on. It wasn't the initial hit he got landed on. And obviously, when it comes to that stuff, we're very precautionary. But he was able to come back in and play. It was a great play on the interception by him. He really almost had a shot at another one as well.
Gotta get the players in there, guys. We need to hurry up.
Ever seen anybody U-turn a cart? I mean, the cart was out there for him. Has that ever happened?
Well, you know, obviously the concerns are, you know, we're going to take every precaution initially necessary, and then he responded fine. So, and we did all of the tests to make sure that he was ready to go, and he got back in the game.
How do you guard against the feeling of accomplishment now that you won 3 in a row and you're in the bowl again and all that?
You know, we talked early on as a football team. This season was about taking the next step, and you know, we're not here just to play to get bowl eligible anymore. And there's plenty of meat left on our bone to go eat. And our goal is by next Saturday we get a chance to eat again. You know, see what we can do.
So you had 3 personal fouls tonight, and the first one on Glenn, it looked like he was kind of slowing up, and he bumped into the receiver. Did you?
First one's really on DeAndre Campbell. The second one's on Glenn. I can't recall the third one, but you know, I thought our kids were playing hard. I thought we were playing through the echo of the whistle. You know, I felt at times maybe we didn't hit them as hard as they fell, but they called it. You know, and we can't control that. The flag's on the ground. We got to play the next snap.
All right, guys, let's get going. We got a bunch of guys here.
He'll be back. He'll be okay.